Hi everybody, this is Suzanne Hiron of Memi Papyrus. This week's card is a waterfall card using Way to Goat. Let's get started. This week I wanted to show you a waterfall card. So I was inspired by a friend of mine that I met at a Stampin'Up event who did this one with the Back on Your Feet set. And this is the mechanism of the waterfall card. Isn't that cute? It's just adorable. Love it. So anyway, she did this card with her sentiment on the back, so it doesn't open as like a traditional card. I thought I'd take that idea and make it a traditional card. So I did this one with the Way to Goat stamp set that we have here. Love these goats. And I also did one with the Darling Donkey set that we had at Celebration a little earlier this year. And this is my donkey one. So this week we're going to do the goat card. Let's get started. All right, so we have a base that is basic gray, and it's cut vertically, so 11 by 4 1/4, and it is scored at 5 1/2. So you don't need to worry about any of the measurements or the instructions. They will all be on my blog. So now I have the Signer Series paper. Not sure exactly what the name is. I looked it up and I already forgot. I'll have that on my blog as well for you. And it is returning in this year's catalog. It is just fabulous. So many beautiful paper designs in that DSP. So I'm going to start with this part, and my coordinating color is Cinnamon Cider. So this is going to be my layer on the inside, and it's also going to be my little squares in the waterfall mechanism. So we have the base. Let's set that aside and work on the strip that is creating this waterfall. So I've got the scallop tag topper punch, and my strip is at 2 inches, so it fits perfectly into the topper punch topper punch. So I've done that. Now I'm going to remove this and bring in my scoring and cutting board, and I'm going to make sure that my cutting blade is below, and I'm using only my scoring tool. I don't want to cut it, I just want to score it. So I'll start with the 2-inch mark, and make sure that your punch area is on the right side. So you want to start scoring on the left side of your tag. So you got it at 2 inches, score that, move it to 2 3/4 inches, score again, 3 1/2, score again, and 4 1/4. So again, all these instructions will be on my blog, not to worry. So we're done with this. Move it aside, bring back my silicone mat, and we're going to burnish those score lines, make sure they're nice and crisp. Fold, fold, and fold. So this is ready for the mechanism of the card. So you see, this is going to be inserted to create that waterfall. Now let's do some stamping. So Way to Goat has some really cute goats, of course, but also some really nice sentiments. So I'm going to use pretty much everything of this set. So I'm going to start with one of the goats, the one that we see completely, and I won't be coloring them, but I did color the example with some stamping blends. Like I used a light smoky slate, I used a bit of cinnamon cider, I used a bit of the nude for the faces. So I won't be coloring because I don't want you to watch me color for an hour. You might get bored, and I would totally understand. So I'm just going to stamp these guys. So as you can see, this one is way too big for my little square. I'm just going to keep the head. Stamp him right here. And I want to clean off my silicone mat because I got some ink on it here. Dries instantly. I couldn't live without my silicone mat. It's one of my favorite tools in my craft room. And this little guy is third. There we go. Oh, I smeared the second one. Let's do it over. Every piece of paper has two sides. Don't want a smeared goat. Tap, tap. Perfect. Much better. Okay, so let's set this aside and let them dry for a bit. We'll do our inside, and I want to bring back the first goat. My Memento ink is really juicy, that's why it's smeared a bit. There we go. Perfect. And my sentiment is going to be, "You're the goat, greatest of all time." Kind of makes up for the sentiment that says, "Happy birthday, you old goat." Here we go. I did it in cinnamon cider. Close this. We're ready to adhere this to the inside. Line it up. All right. So that's done. Give it a good press. Now we're going to create the mechanism of our waterfall. I just want to move the ink so I don't get it all over myself. Not be good. All right, so we need that little strip that I cut a minute ago. Of course, I can't find it, so I'll cut another one. It's always when you're with me that I lose my stuff. Here we go. So we are going to use the strongest adhesive that we have, which is the tear and tape. We also have the new, what's it called? The new adhesive. Anyway, it's supposed to be really strong, but it's so strong that it's tearing my paper. So I have to say I'm not a big fan. I love my tear and tape. It's my go-to strong adhesive when I'm doing boxes or when I'm doing things that need to stay in place. There we go. It's called the Seal Plus, just came back to me. The Stampin' Seal Plus. And I think maybe I'm applying a little bit too much pressure. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but it's not working that well for me. So this is the kind of the strip that will be holding our mechanism in place. Now let's do our squares. Did I miss one? Goat. We have 3 goats. Oh, I didn't stamp the sentiment yet. Okay, we're good. 3 goats. As I said, I'm going to be coloring them after the fact, so you don't have to watch me for an hour. Stamp the happy birthday. Happy birthday, you old goat. Yeah, not quite straight enough. There. There's a bit of rain happening here today, and my dog Willow does not like the rain. She gets really freaked out when it rains, so she's hovering around and huffing and puffing. You might hear some huffing and puffing in the background. That would be my Willow. But I'd rather she huff and puff at 3 o'clock in the afternoon than at 3 o'clock in the morning. So this is how it works. So I'm going to line up my image to the score line. I put my tear and tape to make it really strong. And I'm going to do the same thing for all those layers. So 2 strips of tear and tape should do it. Make sure they're within 2 inches because that's how wide your strip is. So when you apply your stamped image, it's only going to be stuck at the top of it, and that's what's creating the waterfall. And so the last one on the top, you can see the full square. That's why I chose to have the goat that you see his full body. So this is the last one. There he goes. So this is my selection of goats, and I'm going to slip this in, get rid of these little bits and pieces of tear and tape, and I'm going to slip this in behind the band that I stuck earlier, this way. Try and center it, and so what's going to hold it down is this last 2-inch square. So what I'm going to do is put my tear and tape on the surface I want it to stick to, right here. And I'll remove the backing. I want to make sure that my waterfall doesn't go higher than the card. So by doing it this way, I know I'm lining it up where I want it to be. Give it a good press. And now I can pull my tab and we'll get the mechanism. All I need to do now is insert my greeting on this piece here. I had a bigger, wider strip. Of course, because you're with me, I can't find it, so I'm going to use just a little square. And it's going to say, I got you cake, but I ate it. And I'm going to stamp those two together. I need to make sure it fits my little square. And I'm going to stamp it in the cinnamon side right this time, just because I can. Here. I hope the person I give this to has a sense of humor. Now I had another little square. No, I'll make it too thick, I think. So I'll just leave it as is. And get it close to the bottom. There we go. All right, the last piece is my ribbon. We need a little pull so the person that gets the card can actually pull the mechanism out and see the greetings and the goats. So I want to pull this out, make it easier. There you have it. So I'm going to secure this with a little glue dot to make sure it doesn't come off. And here is my card. And on the inside, we have the goat as well. I hope you enjoyed this waterfall card and that you'll try it at home. It's a really fun fold. So we'll see you again next time. Thanks for being here.